With Neal Brown squarely on the hot seat at West Virginia, fans are wanting him out of town. But one of the holdups is, can West Virginia afford to fire Neal Brown? Can they afford to pay his buyout? We'll pull up a chair, sit back, relax, and let's talk about it. What is up, college sports fans, fellow members of Mountaineer Nation? This is Coos, and welcome into another edition of Coos' Corner. Pull that chair up and let me serve you up this shot of top shelf college football knowledge. What is on tap today? Neal Brown's contract may not cost West Virginia as much as we think, and it still may be worth going through with firing him potentially even before the season is over. And I'm going to talk about why. First of all, I want to give a shout out to my channel members. These are the people who have a paid membership to Coos' Corner and take advantage of the perks that go along with that, like early access to some special videos, things like that. And here they are. Outlaw of College Football, Big Dan T, Michael Music, College Football with Jonathan Lewis, Paul Riggs, Chris D, HBAR Farkle, and David Cummings. David Cummings, Paul Riggs, and Big Dan T are all Mountaineer Maniac level members, which is level 2 members. They get even a few extra perks than the Country Roads members do. So thank you all for your membership and for your support of my channel. Now, let's get into it. When you look at the contract that Neal Brown has, and shout out to Dylan Vance for sending me this information. It's an article in 24/7 Sports written by Mike Casaza, who covers West Virginia for 24/7 Sports. But here are the details of the contract, and then I'll get into the buyout later as part of that. But his contract extends and runs through December 31st, 2026. He has what they call a full liquidated damages clause in the contract, which means if he's fired, he gets all salary and incentive compensation actually earned and accrued but unpaid under the terms of the agreement and not paid as of the date of the such termination. So basically what that means is they have to pay him everything they owe him, and they haven't written him a check for yet. So, like, there are incentives that he won't get paid for to the end of the season. They'll go ahead and pay him those now when they fire him. At least that's the way I interpret that. Now, he signed an extension in 2021 after the 2020 season where West Virginia went 6-4 and beat Army in the Liberty Bowl. We all remember that. That's the year we thought, okay, the climb is real. Here we go, right? Well, since then, it's been pretty much flat. But that extension he signed gave him a guaranteed contract, which means this. It guarantees him 100% of his remaining salary if he's fired on or before December 31st, 2024, meaning another prorated sum to cover everything he'd be due on that day and for continuing to work to the final day of the contract. So basically what that means is if they fire him before December 31st, 2024, they have to pay him everything they would owe him up through December 31st, 2026, in addition to the unpaid money he's already accrued. So that's 2 payments right there. Now, there's all this talk about, well, if you fire him now, you got to pay him $20 million. If you wait till after the season, it's $16.7 million. There's some accuracy to that, but it's not totally accurate. The way his contract is set up, every day that he works is less money West Virginia would owe him. If we fired him this season, yes, we would owe him right around $20 million, because what that would do, that would be everything we owe him from 2023 through 2026 plus the rest of this year, right? That's where the $20 million comes in. It's $16.7 million plus, $3.3 million that we owe him for this year, or the West Virginia owes him for this year. I shouldn't say we. I'm not affiliated with the university. If I say we, it's totally out of habit, and I apologize. But if it's $20 million, it's because it's what they owe him from next year and beyond, plus what they owe him for this year. That's where the $20 million comes in. If Neal Brown gets fired after December 31st, 2024, West Virginia would only have to pay him 85% of his remaining contract versus the 100%. But we all know the way things are going, he's likely not going to be here December 31st, 2024, so that is probably a moot point. Now, the part that might actually help West Virginia and might reduce that $20 or $16 million number is this. The amount West Virginia owes Brown for firing him shall be offset by any amounts coach earns from comparable football-related employment over the remaining term of his employment had this agreement not been terminated. So what that means is basically this. I'm going to put it in layman's terms for you, and I'll be honest. I had to read this multiple times to understand it. I'm not good at reading legal jargon. But here's what that means to me. If he leaves West Virginia, if West Virginia fires him and then he goes and gets another job, whatever salary he's making at that new job will be reduced from his buyout. So basically, say West Virginia fires him after this season or after this year, and we owe him 2023 through 2026, which is $16.7 million. All right. Let's say he goes and gets a job at a group of 5 school, and let's just say he's making $1 million a year. Okay. So from 2023 through 2026, which is a 4-year period, he earns $1 million a year at that new school. That's $4 million. That means West Virginia would only have to pay him $12.7 million versus the $16.7 million. At least that's the way I interpret that. So any salary he makes at his new job would be taken out of what West Virginia owes him. So and we all know that Neal Brown's probably going to end up coaching somewhere. It may not be at a Power 5 school, and heck, it might be. Who knows? For our sake, it probably should be. So because that's even less money we would owe him, right? So it would actually benefit West Virginia for him if we fire him for him to get another job, because that's less money West Virginia would have to pay him because they would subtract that out of his buyout. Now, here's something else that what I'm going to talk about now was not part of the article, but I got to thinking about it, and this is why I think it still could be worthwhile financially for West Virginia to fire Neal Brown, even with the buyout. And here's why. The fans are getting apathetic right now with Neal Brown at the helm. I'm seeing fans all over social media saying they're not going to any more games until he's fired and all this. Now, I personally don't agree with that because we go to support the players, not the coaches, in my opinion. But at the same time, I also get it because I'm frustrated too. And when you're frustrated, you're not as fired up about the team. You're not as excited about the team. And therefore, you're less likely to go to a game, right? Especially if you're somebody like me who has to drive several hours. And heck, we have fans that drive 6, 7, 8 hours to games every Saturday. So we've got a lot of fans who travel long distances to go to these games. And you're not going to do that for a team that's 0-10 or what. And I know I don't think we're going to be 0-10. I'm just throwing that out there. If a team's losing, you're a lot less likely to spend that money and go to that game. That's the nature of the business. That's human nature for us fans. That's how we are. At least that's the way a lot of us are. So let's just say, for example, West Virginia averages 50,000 fans per game right now. And I'd use 50,000 because it's an easy round number. There was about 52,000 at the Kansas game. There will probably be 40-some thousand or 40,000 at the Towson game. There might be 60,000 at games against Oklahoma and Texas, right? So I'll use 50,000 as an easy round number. Let's say that the fan base gets apathetic. Let's say Neal Brown loses and West Virginia loses to Virginia Tech. They're 1-3. We're 4 games into the season. Fans stop showing up. Every 10,000 fans that you lose is approximately, in my estimation, about $750,000 per game you're losing. And I'm basing that on $75 ticket prices, okay? Some are more, some are less. There again, this is just to make for easy math, I use $75. $750,000 per game lost in ticket revenue if you lose 10,000 fans a game. Let's just say Neal Brown stays on for another year and fans continue to be apathetic. The team still doesn't turn around. He's still losing. You still only get that 40,000 fans per game. For an entire season, think about that. You're talking millions of dollars in lost ticket revenue because the coach is not winning and the fans are apathetic and don't care anymore. I mean, you get your return on investment pretty quick with increased ticket sales in that case, right? So it might not be such a bad idea to go ahead and let Neal Brown go earlier, assuming that the team doesn't turn around. Now, my hope is that the team goes out here, they beat Towson soundly, they go into Blacksburg, they whip Virginia Tech, we got the fan base positive again, everybody's happy again. We go and we beat Texas on the road, all of a sudden we're 3-2 with 2 good road wins, we're feeling good about ourselves again, right? That's what I hope happens. And I hope Neal Brown goes on a roll, the team goes on a roll, and this ends up being a moot point, and it was all for nothing. But it's just going to be hard to do that, folks, because at this point, I don't know what's going to make the fan base happy enough to want to keep him on as coach. We might have to win the rest of our games to make him that happy. I just don't know what it's going to take. That being said, If he doesn't turn it around and form basically a miraculous turnaround, we're liable to lose ticket sales. The team's liable to lose ticket sales and liable to lose even TV revenue. These third-tier media rights, advertisers might start pulling their ads and stuff. It might make the TV value go down. So there are a lot of financial implications here if you have an apathetic fan base. West Virginia's fan base is typically not apathetic, but they're getting that way because they're tired of watching the team lose the same way, game in and game out. It's happening. And I think that's why Shane Lyons is so concerned. He put out that statement yesterday. I'm making this video on Tuesday, September 13th. He put out a statement yesterday, September 12th. Didn't really tell us a whole lot of anything other than that everybody's frustrated and the team has a chance to turn things around. That's pretty much all he said. I don't know what that means. Didn't really show a vote of confidence in Neal Brown, but at the same time, they're not firing him right now. So, this is at the forefront for Shane Lyons and this administration. They know how upset the fans are, and I guarantee you there are some boosters that are upset right now. I almost guarantee you. So he understands it, he gets it, and he knows the importance and the financial implications this could have. So therefore, it's of my opinion that if this team does not turn it around, especially if we lose to Virginia, heck, if we lose to Towson, they need to fire him now, as soon as the game's over. If we beat Towson and then lose to Virginia Tech, they really need to think long and hard about whether or not to keep him around the rest of the season, because the Big 12 schedule is going to be brutal. And if we can't beat Virginia Tech, we can't beat Kansas, we can't beat Pitt, then I don't know that we can beat Baylor, Oklahoma State, Texas, Oklahoma, all these other teams. So they might need to go ahead and make that change now if he can't beat Virginia Tech. Well, that's my thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think in the comment section about these contract details and how, if Neal Brown finds another job after leaving West Virginia, that's less money we got to pay him. So keep that in mind. It might not cost us the full $20 or $16.7 million if he gets fired. Keep that in mind. And also, it might still be worth it to save in ticket revenue, to maintain that ticket revenue and keep fans fired up, to keep fans excited, especially if they can. Anyway, I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to check out my merch store links at the top of the description box. Don't forget, if you want to become like the people I talked about in the beginning of the video and become a member of my channel, hit that join button right below. If you can't support me financially, you want to support me absolutely free, you can like the video, share the video out with your friends, leave that comment like we talked about. And last but not least, you can subscribe to my channel. All those things help out that YouTube algorithm. I really appreciate your support. I appreciate you tuning in. And until the next time, Q Country Roads.